Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I am, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about the potential future political debates I'll be doing on this channel, as well as doing a little bit of a gaming chat, because, we're going to do some gaming stuff here in a few minutes, is what it is. But, yeah, basically, got up about an hour or so ago, and, was debating about some stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? If I'm gonna do a for real run for Stark County Commissioner next year, I need to be ready to do debates, is what it is, dude. And what better way to do that than actually have like actual debates on this channel against other people and prepare for potential debates against current Stark County Commissioner Bill Smith when I run against him next year. So basically, anybody that would want to do a debate against me on a wide variety of topics, from Second Amendment issues to just constitutional issues in general, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, anything like that, 14th Amendment for that matter. Um, you know, pro life versus pro choice, any of that kind of stuff. If you want to be part of those debates, let me know and we'll set something up at some point. I'm probably going to do it once every week or so on like either Friday night or Saturday night. I'm not sure which at this point. I'm still, sort of getting the logistics going right now because it's just, literally just thought this up like an hour or so ago. So it'd probably be sometime like next week or something at the earliest. And yeah, basically it would be, we would have three people on the panel. It would be myself, whoever I'm debating, and then the third person actually be a moderator type. And then depending on what the topic is, we each get a couple minutes to do our, thing. If you're, pro-choice and I'm the pro-life side, whatever the case be, or vice versa for that matter, it would be a whole thing like that. Because the thing is, I have no problem doing either side, honestly. Obviously, I am pro-life personally, but like I have no problem debating from the pro-choice side is what it is. Because, obviously in my youth, I was open to shit, honestly. Since then, obviously, you've had the left go so psychotically insane is what it is. When it comes to abortion on demand, I'm just like, nah, bro, like it's time to just nah, fuck you, you're killing kids at that point, kind of thing. But yeah, the entire point is though, it's like, you know, it would be nice to have these debates. And really this spawned out of last night because I was watching NEA show and we were talking I don't know how it got on the topic, but basically the panel was talking about how that Oklahoma State Senator guy, Nathan Dam, I think that's what his name is, how he was basically just a fucking fool for going on Jon Stewart's stupid ass little show and basically having a political debate there is what it was. Which really wasn't a political debate. It was basically Jon Stewart grandstanding like a stupid piece of shit that he is. Most of slickly editing a lot of the footage out of there to make Nathan look like a fucking dumbass is what it is, to not even know anything about the Second Amendment, and yet is passing legislation in Oklahoma as a state senator, I believe is what it is. And the worst part of it is when you look at Nathan Dam, he's actually trying to run for federal Senate next year against, I think it's James Langford or something like that, is who is the current senator for that state or something. And it's like, bro, like if you can't even debate like a random leftist fucking celebrity or whatever the case be, how are you ever going to be thinking you could hold a U.S. Senate seat is what it is. And that's the biggest thing right there. And that's my feeling, honestly, is like there's been times where I have been a good debater in certain things and stuff like that, dude. And there's also been times in my past where I've basically been in the situation where it's like, I'm not really good at like immediate response kind of thing is what it is. And that's kind of what these debates for the next like 6 months to a year would be leading up to. It would be me debating people on various topics and being better prepared in case I actually have to debate for a county commissioner's race and stuff like that, for a primary seat and stuff like that, it would be. So my feeling is, if nothing else, I feel like too as well, it would be a twofold thing on that one, because it would be not only for the Stark County Commissioner's race, it would also be for my future governor's run in 2026 as well. And I'm definitely going to debate people at that point. And that's my thing. I'm thinking like, okay, what would be the best way for me to do things? How best could I prepare for these things? And, what would be a variety of topics to talk about? And I think obviously like one of the biggest ones is guns, this Second Amendment related stuff like that. Another one is abortion. Another one would be, nothing else like current inflation issues and stuff like that or whatever. Um, you know, Capitalism versus crony capitalism, I think would be another good topic to talk about, honestly. Capitalism versus socialism or communism would also be a good one, I think, as well on that one. because that really, honestly, the communism socialism one versus capitalism kind of falls back to the previous one I mentioned, which was the actual true capitalism versus crony capitalism, which is what America is currently is what it is. And the big thing there is when you have people, and it's current generation of people, by the way, like there's, and I'm not saying it's like the entire generation of like Gen Z or whatever the case be, but there's definitely a big proportion of it is. And when I talk about Gen Z and stuff like that, I'm talking about the older people, like your Maxwell Frost types or your David Hogg types and stuff like that section of the actual generation that have been indoctrinated for the past 10 years or so of their lives in both high schools and colleges for that matter. And now they're basically sitting there, trying to run for political office and stuff like that. And they're so warped in their thinking that they're embracing communism and socialism when in reality, they don't even understand what crony capitalism is what it is. And so my biggest issue is, how are you going to hold elected office in this country? And for that matter, across the board, not even just the entire thing with, them running for office on like an anti-gun stance or something like that. It's like, how are you going to be able to hold office when you are literally running on a platform that directly imposes upon the constitutional oath you're going to swear to uphold? And that's what my biggest issue is right there, honestly. It's like, oath keeping versus oath breaking would be another one, honestly, on that one, dude. And what should be the actual penalty for these people at this point, honestly, that are going to break their oath of office and everything like that. So, again, it's one of these situations where it becomes, if people want to debate, let me know and we can debate these things. I'm going to set some stuff up. What I'm going to try to do actually is I really would like to get some of the guys from the panels I do on the weekends and stuff like that to come on the actual debate is what it is. Like maybe me versus Honda debating each other, or even myself versus Corey or Leo or something like that, debating each other on some stuff. Because I feel like they could easily, like one of those guys could easily take the other side is what it is. And it would almost be like iron sharpening iron at that point. But that being said, I would also like to have like just random people is what it is. The big thing is though, and again, this kind of goes back to the whole, find a random person to come on and stuff like that. It's an issue then of, okay, first of all, is that person actually going to show up or not? And then secondly, if they do show up, like God forbid they go off script and start, trying to get my channel flagged or something like that for a bunch of racist shit they're starting to say or something like that, dude. Like go off on a whole tirade and start dropping N-bombs and stuff like that or whatever the case be. Or anything else for that matter. Because the thing of it is, I don't want to get channel strikes because of some jerk off coming on my channel to debate me and stuff like that, dude, obviously. The thing of it is, though, it's like a whole situation of, who, when, and where can I actually get on there. Yeah, see, the thing is, I don't really want to debate East Coast Corey because that guy is a fucking clown. And that's the thing, like, that guy lives in fucking Looney Tune land, man. Like, it would be like 5 minutes of us getting into a conversation / debate and me just hitting the ban from this fucking channel forever kind of thing on his end. Which is like banned from stream. Like honestly, one of the best things that happened with that guy was when Matt had him on the one panel here like a month ago or so, whatever that was. And then Duke finally called him out, and it was like, yeah, exactly, man. Like, because that's what that dude is. Like, he doesn't live in reality, is what it is, man. Like Corey, I'm trying to think what the guy's last name is. I forget what his actual name is, but it's like Nature is the Way or whatever is his actual YouTube channel. And I'm not going to sit there and say that like some of the stuff that he discusses and stuff like that isn't like actual, things that can be debated and stuff like that. Like, hey, like actual like constitutionalism versus like his like common law, whatever you want to call it there, like, nature law, whatever it is. The problem with that is though, and this is why it kind of grinds my gears, honestly, on that one, because of the fact that, as a constitutionalist, when you start shit talking the Constitution and our founding fathers, like you can just fuck off is what it is, dude. And that's why I don't like to debate those kind of people is what it is, dude, because they're not worth debating because they really can't be debated is what it is, dude, because they're going to be going in this weird circular logic all the time to where they don't open up their mind to actually having an outside perspective of things And it basically goes to this weird diatribe of them just sort of, continuing that circular logic and never actually answering your question is what it is, or never actually having a real point of debate is what it ends up being. And that's basically what that would be. It would be us sitting there for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it's going to be. And it becomes this weird, like, circular logic issue of dude never actually answers the question. And I'm just like, bro, come on now. And that's what it is. Like, we've had East Coast Corey on multiple panels, both on Honda's chat and on Matt's chat over the past like few months now. And every single time that dude's been on, he can never answer a straightforward question. So it's like, why would I debate that, Like, how could I even debate that, really, honestly? Because it wouldn't be debating. It would be me grandstanding and him basically talking about whatever then. So, yeah, it's definitely... The problem becomes, again, it goes back to the Gen Z mindset, which is what that Corey guy is he basically, I think if I'm not mistaken, Honda told me once he was like 22 to 24, somewhere in there. And that's the thing, right? When you're that age and stuff like that, you have like very little life experience, honestly. And I'm gonna say it like it is, dude. Now, granted, yeah, you could be on the opposite side of that and have like a bunch of life experience at that age, depending, what you've done in your life leading up to that point. If you were like, military serviceman or something like that, between like 18 and like your 20s or whatever the case be, versus, hey, you got like into a family business like really young or whatever the case be, and you have like, let's go ahead and say, parents were like teaching the business as you were like 10 or whatever the case be, and now like everything there is to know about like farming or something like that by the time you're like 18, 19, 20 years old and stuff like that. Like, that's a different story altogether, obviously. But the entire point I'm trying to make is that for a lot of these people in that age range, they don't really have life experience. They've gone through high school. They may have some college or something underneath their belt. They've had a presidential race or two where they've possibly voted, or maybe not voted at all in it. Maybe a couple of midterms where they maybe have voted for a governor or something like that, or maybe not, for that matter. And yeah, they're still very wet behind the ears is what it is. And unfortunately, again, going back to, how our public education system is at this point, which that's going to be another one we're going to debate, by the way, which would be public school versus school choice is what would be for that debate. And the entire thing of it is that when you look at public education, which is really public indoctrination anymore, today's day and age, is you have these kids from, fucking kindergarten, even preschool for that matter, being taught to basically hate themselves with their white kids through CRT and stuff like that. Or it's other people, it's these, teachers / indoctrinators in our educational system that are basically shoving a bunch of shit at these kids to be like, oh, well, you can be transgender, you want to be, you're transgender, right? And stuff like that. And it's basically, it's like them pushing the ideology on these kids, dude. And it's like, no, they're not. They're, in many cases, confused kids because they don't know what the fuck is up at that point, honestly. They're just like basically being led around, carried on a string, and they're the fucking, donkey and stuff like that, being led around with the fucking carrot. And what it ends up being then is that they have nothing to rely upon except what they're being told by this adult, is what it is. And unfortunately, when you don't have, a good parental structure at the house to combat that shit, or the kids aren't even coming home and being like, hey, mom and dad, like, this weird teacher, Mrs. Evans or whatever, is teaching us like all this stuff about like whatever, and the parents are like, what the fuck? And that's the thing, and that's why we're seeing that kind of pushback now. It's taken so long, and that's the big thing too, right? Like, I always talk about 2020 lockdowns and the shamdemic and stuff like that, and how bad it is overall, because we're seeing that obviously fall out like 3 years later now is what it is, quite a bit. But the thing is, the one thing it did lead to was it allowed for parents to finally see the shit that their kids were being pushed into by these fucking indoctrinators in our school systems. And, that basically goes back to what happened last year when I had that fallout with Guns and Barbecue Woods and all those guys like that is what it was, dude. It was because I'd gone on a fucking, rant / tirade, discussed the true history of this country, and they apparently had a problem with that, dude. Now, granted, I will talk about that for a minute, and I'm going to mention something here. I misspoke during that, and obviously that was because 2 reasons. I was very tired, and my autism basically kicked in, and when that happens, unfortunately, the filter that most people have when it comes to, hey, you probably shouldn't like say something in a weird way or whatever the case be. It just sort of breezed past that whole thing of the filter, and it just came out wrong, is what it was, dude. But yeah, when you actually look into the actual melting pot of this country and stuff like that, dude, and that whole like history behind that, it's kind of a sham, honestly, entirely, dude. It was something that was created basically back during JFK's administration, that whole like melting pot theory or whatever we call it there, and how America is supposed to be this melting pot or whatever. And it wasn't until that time period that you actually had the shit written on the Statue of Liberty about the give us your tired, your hungry, your huddled masses, all stuff like that. Because until then, you actually had nothing written on that when it was given to us by, I believe it was the French that sent us that as a gift or whatever. And the thing with that is, though, if people really truly wanted to be a melting pot, they would actually melt. And that's the problem, dude. Especially when it comes to Islam, etc. They ain't gonna melt, is what it is, dude. They refuse to melt because they don't want to melt because they're so ingrained in their own thinking and their own logic and stuff like that. It goes back to their circular logic, is what it is there. That they're never actually going to melt into a true melting pot of America. They're never going to, be like, okay, cool, we can be friends and shit like that. It's like, no, they want to take us over, is what it is. And so that's basically what happened there with that whole thing. And unfortunately, it is what it is. But I'm glad in some ways, I'm glad it happened, honestly, because, it's one of those situations where it's like I hung out with those guys for roughly about a year or so of my life, and knowing that they were scumbagging me that fast after the fact, dude, it really becomes a situation of like, I'm better off now than I was a year ago, I believe, because it allowed me to see the true colors of some of these individuals and why I would never talk to them ever again is what it is, dude. So, yeah, it's just sad in a lot of cases. It really is. And, being mislabeled as a racist and, white hate and shit like that is just absolutely disgusting. I've never been any of these things, never will be any of these things. And the thing of it is, it's like, yeah, it is okay to be white. And that's another thing, too, by the way. We would debate that as a topic. Is it okay to be white? And the answer to that is yes, by the way. It very much is. It's just like it's okay to be black or brown or yellow or purple or pink, whatever the hell you want to be at that point, dude. You be you, man. The thing of it is, like, again, it goes back to something I've been talking about on this channel off and on for probably a decade now. Actually, some of the videos obviously are not available anymore because of, federal swatting a few years back and stuff like that. But the entire point was even back then, 2016, 17, stuff like that, when I was doing stuff on this channel for the original Make America Stand Again series, I would discuss a bunch of topics during that about how identity politics was basically killing this country at the time. And it still is, for that matter, dude. Because the problem is, it's not only identity politics anymore. It's the victimhood mentality of our society is what it is, dude. It's, again, going back to, impressionable children and indoctrinators in our school system and stuff like that. You have these teachers who are basically forcing these kids to have an oppression is what it is. It's like that one that I showed on here. I think it was sometime last year, actually, like maybe last summer, last fall, somewhere in there. And it was basically, I want to say she was a black teacher that had quit the school systems or whatever it was, because she was basically discussing about how you had all these little white girls who were being pushed now to become trans men because it was like, oh, you're, so privileged or whatever the case be, and now you need to have an oppression to basically be anything is what it is. So, and that's the problem, dude. When you push victimhood mentality on kids, all you're doing is creating another generation of victimization is what it is. And that's so wrong is what it is, dude. It's just completely bullshit. And again, it goes back to sort of the Rules for Radicals playbook of how do you destabilize a country? Oh, you go after the youth. It's exactly why people like Hitler and stuff went after the youth all the time, dude, because they wanted them to basically out their own families. And, that's what led to all the death camps and stuff like that, dude, whether it be, death camps full of millions of Jewish people or, a couple 100,000 people that were, elderly, infirm, mentally retarded, et cetera, et cetera. And, whether it be kids with Down syndrome or autism or whatever the case be, or whether it be gay people, because that was another thing too, by the way, people never really talk about that except for me, obviously, it seems like. There were many groups besides Jews that were actually killed during the death camps, dude, in Hitler's regime. There was elderly infirm. There were people that had mental issues, whether it be Down syndrome or schizophrenia or whatever the case be. And then there were a bunch of gay people as well. And what's interesting about that situation, a time period of history, is going back to book burning and stuff like that. A lot of the books that were burned during Hitler's regime were actually on transgenderism and various like gender ideology and stuff like that, dude. And if we had not had that shit burned, we would have been way far ahead, like 100 years advanced is what it is, dude, because we would have saw that stuff, back in the 30s and 40s is what it is. But unfortunately, because they burned all those books and all that knowledge was lost to history is what it was, you had a situation then where it didn't pop up in our own society here in America until like about 15, 20 years ago now. So yeah, it's a whole big problem there, dude, entirely. And that's why, honestly, like in some cases, I'm against. Like, there are some reasons why I'm against book banning. However, that being said, when you have these people that are doing stuff in these school systems now, where they're directly pushing clearly pornography on kids, like, nah, man, that ain't cool. It ain't okay. That is fucking child abuse. Like, get that shit the fuck out of there. Now, granted, we don't need to go to the point of like burning the books and stuff like that, obviously. It's just, yeah, take that shit out of there. There's no need for it to be in a fucking elementary school, library, etc., dude. If you want to have that stuff in maybe like a high school library or something like that, that's maybe a thing. And even then, it should be, based on like age/maturity levels, what it is, dude. That if anybody wants to take it out there is what it is. So it'd be like, 16, 17, whatever the case be, year old kids that would actually be able to want to learn that stuff or whatever the case be, because again, they would be mature enough to actually have that, not some fucking 8, 9, 10-year-old kid that doesn't know any better is what it is, dude, and is just maybe hitting puberty or whatever for the first time in their life and stuff. So yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous entirely. But anyway, it becomes a whole thing. uh So I'm actually going to talk about that one right now. So apparently, from what happened there was Frida, whatever the person's name was supposed to be. A lot of us believe that it might have been Bjorn on a secondary account. I never said anything myself about it because I really didn't give a fuck either way. But yeah, it became a whole issue, and I guess at some point in the past couple of weeks on the Discord, Honda basically called it out, and so did a few other people. And they basically told Bjorn, they're like, "Hey, man, like, we're pretty sure you're this second account or whatever that is a chick or supposed to be a chick or whatever. And if you want to basically prove that you're not, like, provide us a picture of the two of you standing together." And he hasn't done that yet. So, you know, and as far as I'm aware, he's basically not going to do that. And yeah, it became a whole thing of it's just a weird situation. So, from my understanding, it was basically like, dude just was possibly faking to be another person, is what it was. Which is not surprising. I mean, there's been that shit going on across the fucking internet since the internet's existed, dude. I mean, hell, you think at the age of 16 or 17, I wasn't faking to be a fucking 14 or 15-year-old girl on random chat sites and stuff like that, dude? And holy shit, man, you want to talk about the late 90s, early 2000s when that stuff was going on? And how many fucking, like, serious, creepy ass pedophile types would go on there and want to talk to a fucking person that was a 14 or 15-year-old girl? Like, holy shit, dude. Like, that was some scary fucking shit thinking back on it now, dude. Like, there were some conversations I had with some people that were like, oh my god, dude, like, this motherfucker is clearly a pedophile now. So, but yeah, it's like a whole situation there. And again, it's, it was basically catfishing before catfishing was cool, honestly. And but nah, seriously though, like, it's crazy, man, honestly, to think about, like, some people just wanting attention is what it is, and I think that's what that kind of was, honestly, and it's whatever. So to me, it's whatever. I could give a fuck less. Personally, Bjorn, I think, has some good ideas. He can bring some good topics to the table and stuff like that. As far as I'm aware, he does like knife making and stuff like that. He's got that skill set, and good for him. And yeah, either way, it's whatever. If he wants to do stuff, he can do stuff. If he doesn't want to do stuff, he doesn't want to do stuff, whatever. Again, I'm not gonna knock the guy or whatever, but like, yeah, it'd be nice to actually see like him and that other person standing together is what it is, dude. If you're supposedly like, if she's living with you or whatever, but like, yeah, other than that, I can really give a fuck less is what it is, man. But yeah, Honda's gonna do his thing, and it is what it is, man. But obviously, for those that have watched his channel in the last like few months, actually, we had that one guy on there. I'm trying to think of the guy's name was offhand, like Too Much Moxie or something like that for one chat. And yeah, it turned out that guy was actually doing a bunch of bots for his channel, and that's why Honda never had him back on after that. Then, and then of course, you had East Coast Corey come in there and spew all kinds of nonsense about nature law and stuff like that, and basically take over chats for the like, next hour or so, and go sort of mini Jim Jones is what it was. And I'm just like, there's a reason why I call that guy Jim Jones Jr. one time, dude. And like, it is so fucking true, man. Because that dude's logic is very like cult member / cult leader fucking mentality is what it is, dude. Which I don't really think of that Corey Nature guy would actually be. I don't think he'd actually be the Jim Jones of a cult either. I think he'd be like the second or third guy in command is what it would be. Maybe like fourth or fifth guy down, depending here and there. It's like one of like it's like basically like the leader type there, and then it's like dudes underneath him, and then maybe like that dude's like fourth in command or something like that. So, but yeah, he's definitely goes to some weird shit is what it is. And I'm not gonna sit there and say like, obviously like, natural holistic stuff is like some weird shit or whatever the case, because it's not, honestly. And I think honestly there's a lot of cases where you could sit there and talk about like, healing the body from, spiritual ways and stuff like that, or even through various like sort of medicine man kind of natural herbs and stuff, versus like big pharmaceutical companies that have all kinds of crazy side effect shit in their drugs and everything else like that. But the thing is, like, when you start going down the rabbit hole of just like, okay, well, this is how this is going to be, and da da da, and like, the founding documents of this country don't mean shit. Like, that's when I kind of tune you out, is what it is, and that's really what it comes down to being at the end of the day. So I assume you're talking about the one in Columbus that's going to happen in July 1st. I'm actually working on it right now. My biggest issue is right now is not having money, is what it is. Because if I had actually had the money right now, I'd actually have a lawsuit going against the city of Columbus, as well as other lawsuits going against Andrew Ginther and a bunch of city councilmen. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I haven't got nobody from FPC wants to contact me back, is what it is. Nobody from GOA has contacted me at all. And unfortunately, when you don't have those big orgs willing to step up and actually, provide you either lawyers or financials to get a lawyer, is what it is, you ain't gonna have nothing going, is what it is. And unfortunately, that's where I'm sitting at right now. So I know there's a Buckeye Firearms Institute, I think is what it is, or maybe Buckeye, I forget what it was. It's Buckeye something. It's either Institute or Firearms Institute. I'm not sure which one, but basically they have filed an injunction lawsuit against the city of Columbus right now over the whole thing. And that's, as far as I'm aware, is where it's at right now, is them basically filing an injunction against it. Other than that, like I said, I would like to personally go down there and do a rally on July 1st and basically force the hand of the cops. My biggest issue is that unless I'm going to be having, several hundred to several thousand other gunners deep, is what it is, with me, I'm not going down there alone, dude, and risking getting arrested for some stupid shit, is what it is, dude, and spending 6 months of my life in a fucking Franklin County jail cell and stuff. Fuck that. Especially when I don't even live in that fucking county. So, yeah, it's a whole thing. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of hoping that Second Amendment Foundation steps up too, for that matter, because I know Amanda Suffolcool was here. I'm trying to think when it was now. She was here back in December when that piece of shit Matt Dolan was trying to do the SB 357 that was trying to ban certain things and like basically making some weird ass red flag law without actually calling it red flag law. And she basically straight told him then, she's like, yeah, if you guys try to pass this stuff, we're going to sue the fuck out of you. Like, we have our lawyers ready to go right now, dude. So I'm kind of hoping they step up and do something here in the next couple of months, is what it is. But like, who knows, man? I think honestly, the closer we get to that July 1st time period, I think you're going to start seeing stuff get to a point where people start doing lawsuits and stuff like that. It just depends right now, because it could be too that they're actually just starting to work on it like right now, or whatever the case being. It's just, sort of going through the motions and getting everything filed together and paperwork ready and stuff like that. And it takes a while to do that stuff, obviously. So it could just be something where, in a few weeks or a month or something, we just see something drop out of nowhere, is what it is. And I'm kind of hoping that's what happens, honestly. But like I said, if it was me personally and I had the financials right now, I would have already sued several different people at this point, dude. And I think honestly, and I've said it before on this channel, I said it last night on this channel actually, That's where we as a Second Amendment community need to be right now, dude. We need to be starting to sue individual politicians at this point and drain these people of every last dime that they have before we get them thrown out of office is what it is, dude. Because it's not going to be until they get hit financially personally that things are actually going to change in this country. So yeah, I think it's definitely time to start doing individual lawsuits and, civil lawsuits and stuff like that against politicians is what it is, dude, for a lot of different reasons. And it would be like various I'm trying to think what it would actually be now. Emotional distress and stuff like that kind of things is what it would be, dude. Because how is that not emotional distress when you're sitting there trying to strip away rights of people based on bullshit ordinances that aren't even state law? And when you're not only that, but you're directly breaking a state preemption in the process by having some dickhead activist judge basically be like, oh no, this is totally cool. It's like, no, it's not. You should be in jail too, motherfucker. I still need to find that person's name, by the way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then, of course, you got state Supreme Court at some point is going to be taking up Ohio's heartbeat bill and the injunction on that one. So we'll see how that happens then. I was going to do that one as 171. I'll probably go back and do 171 at some point here, but it's not going to be that anymore because I've talked about it so many times already now. But yeah, it's a whole thing. And it is what it is. But the real problem comes down to being, I think, is just people. It's, we've kind of seen what's happened in the last few months, a few years. Here's what it is. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of Americans are scared to actually go to do any rallies and stuff like that, dude, because of January 6th. And I don't blame them, honestly. And God forbid you do go to one of these things and it becomes something like Wadsworth last week where you got some fucking, like, obviously fucking Fed informant, bunch of assholes coming to be neo-Nazis and stuff like that show up there. I actually got in the back and forth with some chick on Twitter last night underneath the Ohioans for Harvest Freedom account. And it was basically about how, because she was bitching about, like, how state lawmakers and stuff like that aren't denouncing, like, white hate in Ohio and stuff like that. And it's like, clearly you're too fucking dumb to actually see that what this really was. And what it really was is obviously people faking to be neo-Nazis. And most likely they're federal informants and stuff like that. And like I said before, dude, I guarantee you, if the two FBI agents come to my house back in August of 2019, had they actually been able to arrest me for anything, I would have been cut a fucking deal so fast by a federal prosecutor, dude, to basically become an informant. It wouldn't even been funny. And I guarantee that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to scumbag me in such a way to where they could get me on something so they could then turn around and have me be some fucking federal informant guy, like the 10 fucking dudes that were involved in the Whitmer kidnapping plot thing, dude. Where it was like one autistic fuck, and then it was like 13 or 14 guys that were all feds and federal informants and stuff like that, dude. So, yeah, it's a whole situation like that is what it would be, man. And that's exactly what Patriot Front is too, by the way. It's why they never take their masks off, dude, because if they took their mask off, you'd have people that were on the right side of history, whether it be right-wingers or whatever the case be, actually be able to go out there and do facial recognition technology and figure out who these guys were really quick and be like, oh, check it out. This guy's on the fucking FBI federal informant list and stuff like that. And here's their name and everything else like that. And it would be like that across the board is what it would be, dude. And that's the biggest thing right now. And that's why I've realized over the last almost 4 years now, like, that's exactly what they're trying to do to me. They were trying to fuck me over and put me into a situation where I would self-incriminate so they could arrest me, and then they could make me into their little fucking bitch puppet is what it is. I'm not going to be that person, dude. Fuck that. Because I did nothing wrong is what it was, dude. I had the freedom of speech to say what I said. I said what I said. And I don't deny what I said, honestly, dude. I called that motherfucker Yang out for what he was. I thought he was a future dictator is what it was, dude. And why he should be stopped. And it's as simple as that, really. And the thing is, like, I would say the same thing right now about anybody else for that matter. I just wouldn't go into details what it would be, man. So, anyway. But yeah, needless to say, it's a fucking bunch of shit, honestly, dude. They knew it was a bunch of shit. I mean, hell, they fucking told me when they were leaving it was a bunch of shit. They're like, we wasted 6 days on this. It's like, yeah, you wasted almost a week of your fucking life and mine to sit there and illegally and unconstitutionally spy on my ass and then piss away a bunch more resources after the fact because they followed me on that Friday then after the fact because it was like a Tuesday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when they came here and talked to me. And then they followed me to the fucking card shop on Friday afternoon had some random woman who was either a Fed girl or an informant for them, for that matter, come in there and be all creepy and shit and act like she was basically there to buy something, which she never bought anything. And then was obviously reading off of a script in her own mind, is what it was, because she had memorized some shit. And yeah, it was just creepy fucking shit, dude, entirely. And it's like, yeah, you want to make a paranoid autistic guy even more paranoid and more autistic? Like, fucking federally swat him and see what fucking happens, dude. And that's what fucking happened. I was having fucking nightmares for at least a 6 months to a year in my life, honestly, after that, dude. Thinking at any given time, I would go to sleep and fucking wake up with a gun in my face and some fucking Fed boy holding the fucking gun. Like, that's how scared I was, dude. And I shouldn't have had to live like that, honestly. Like, you want to talk about emotional distress? That is emotional distress times about 50 is what it is, dude. So, yeah, it's just a scary situation all the way around, dude. And like I said, when I had that fallout last year with fucking barbecue and all those guys, dude, like, it put me in a backward state like that again, dude. It put me into an even worse state than that, for that matter. And I'm not going to get into details about what happened after that, dude, but I was in a very depressed state for fucking weeks of my life, honestly, dude. Because I couldn't get out of my own fucking head is what it was. And yeah, I've talked to some people about it. I've talked to some good friends about it, you know, and off air and stuff like that. And they were there for me and they helped me through that time. And I'm glad that they did, dude, because if they hadn't, I might not be here today, honestly. And I'll leave it at that. So sorry, I was reading one of the comments there. I was trying to figure out what was being said there. Yeah, I think we're going to see some interesting stuff happen in the next year or so for the U.S. Senate. I heard last night, actually, apparently Frank LaRose, current Secretary of State of Ohio, is probably going to run in the Republican primary now against Matt Dolan and stuff like that, which I'm kind of glad about that one, even though I think LaRose is as big of a piece of shit as Matt Dolan is. I'd like, if it becomes those two dudes, if it was between those two guys and I had to vote for one of them, I would go LaRose every fucking time, dude, just because. Because it's like, at least I know, like, you know, the kind of shady shit you did to get where you're at, but like, at least as far as I'm aware, like, you're still sort of pro-America and you're not some anti-gun fuckboy like Matt Dolan and clearly like a rhino sack of shit like Matt Dolan. You're probably just like a corrupt piece of crap that should be in prison for like various bribery scandals is what it is. Because like I've said that before, dude, with Frank LaRose, like him and DeWine, everybody else should have gone down for HB6 with householder. So should Russo and a bunch of other people for that matter. But yeah, it's a whole situation there. And then yeah, of course, the way I actually heard about that was I was on Twitter last night and it was some guy talking about LaRose running next year because he was calling out Sherrod Brown or whatever, and he's like, seeing as how you're going to run against him or whatever, it's like, and I was like, wait, what is he? And then apparently, I guess he is now. I don't know if he's made an official announcement or not with it, but actually, I should probably go check that just to make sure, honestly, on that one, dude, and see if there is like an actual announcement that LaRose has made in the last few days to a week or so. So, oh, okay, that makes more sense now. So he hasn't actually officially announced yet, but according to this article right here from mid-February, it was Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose weighs Senate bid. So loves talking about accuracy of Ohio elections. Let's see, it said August 2020 race. Trying to see if there's actually a thing that says about him running potentially for U.S. Senate. Next month for CPAC. He was there, by the way. Asked why he's comfortable speaking in an event, feature multiple guests, including Trump's. I love how they say Trump's baseless election claims. Yeah, baseless my fucking ass, dude. Like, this is what I hate about mainstream media in general, dude. It's like, All you have to do is watch 2000 Mules documentary, dude, and you can see there's fucking voter fraud going on there. And at a massive level for that matter, too, by the way, that got fucking Biden's bitch ass into office. So, anyway. Yeah, so LaRose speaks fondly of Trump. So when it comes to who's going to be party standard bearer in 2024, really decision for millions of Republican primary voters all over the country make. And it's not something I'm going to weigh in on anytime soon, said LaRose, having just started his final term as Secretary of State. LaRose has no plan. He's also planning out the future, said he'll be in Washington, D.C. to speak at CPAC, which he was there. Yeah, I'm trying to see if it says something there. Okay, here we go. It says, for months, Ohio political watchers have amused or assumed that LaRose would run for U.S. Senate in 2024. He told Spectrum News he is seriously considering it, said, I will tell you what, it's something I'm taking a very close look at. To be able to serve at a federal level is something that intrigues me, and I'm so actively looking at building a team and figuring out, can I raise the money to do that? And that's what the big question is. Okay, so that makes more sense then. So yeah, my biggest thing with that is, though, again, and I've talked about this before, actually, the problem with our country currently, dude, is money in politics. When it takes over $1 million fucking dollars to become a U.S. senator or a U.S. congressman in this country, there is a huge fucking problem there. When you have sitting governors, specifically Mike DeWine, who has spent literally fucking tens of millions of dollars in 2 election cycles to become governor and win re-election, there is a huge fucking problem right there, dude. And it's the same thing across the board for that matter, dude. There needs to be caps on every position of power in this nation is what it is, dude. All the way up to the U.S. presidency, where if you break the amount of money set forth or whatever for that money cap, like, you're just done. You're done in that fucking race, dude, is what it is. Because you should be able to actually budget your shit financially responsibly, because if you don't have a responsible budget and you're sitting there pissing away tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to become president or a governor or whatever the case be, you are not physically responsible enough to be able to control a state's budget is what it is, dude. Or an actual country's budget for that matter. And the national deficit. And that's the way I feel about it all the way around, honestly, dude. And that's the biggest problem, I think, in general when it comes to Congress, dude, because you have these people in Congress right now that have been there, 20, 30, 40 years in some cases, or even the ones that are just coming up, like your Amelia Sykes types that have just got there, a few months ago is what it is. But we're in state houses and stuff like that, dude. This bitch was one of the craziest fucking Democrats in the state of Ohio, dude, to where it came to when we were actually doing budgets and stuff in the past couple general assemblies. She was pushing all kinds of crazy ass fucking wasteful spending in that, dude. And it was a bunch of woke bullshit is what it is, dude. And it's like right there, like that should disqualify her from ever running for office ever again after that, dude. Because you have no idea how to budget anything, lady. And you're just one of these fucking woke tards from the left is what it is. Thankfully, it seems like the Republican Party's figuring that shit out now, because they're having, it was both the DCCC and the Republican people the other day. I was reading some Breitbart article about it, and it was them talking about how they're supposed to be basically, it was like it was from the Democrat side, it was who's vulnerable in the 2024 election cycle for Dems, and then the Republican side, it was like, this is who we're going to target as like the first round of people to get rid of is what it is come the 2024 election cycle. And it was interesting because both lists had Amelia Sykes, Greg Landsman, who I guarantee both him and Sykes cheated in the fucking 2022 election cycle, and Frank LaRosa did his fucking job as Secretary of State currently. He would be auditing the shit out of both those elections to figure that out and kick both these motherfuckers out of Congress right now, honestly, dude. And then the third one was that old bitch Marcy Kaptur, who's been in fucking a congresswoman since the 1970s or early 80s is what it is, dude. It's longer than I've been alive, I'll tell you that much for that matter, dude. She's like, it's like 42, 44 years, something crazy like that, dude, is what it is. And it's like, how the fuck are you still in office, you old bitch? Like, seriously, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. If anything, that shows one thing, and that's why that congressional district needs to go the fuck away forever is what it is, dude. When it's so gerrymandered Democrat fucking for 4 goddamn decades that you don't have anybody else getting there ever. Republicans don't even fucking bother running people in it anymore because they can't win the fucking seat is what it is, dude. You have no independents running anymore because they can't win the fucking seat. It's like, no, when it's so gerrymandered Democrat, dude, fuck that. No, fuck all that shit entirely, dude. And that's what I said. Like, this is why we need to go back to a point in history where You have better representation across the board at this point. You don't have 50-something fucking ass clowns coming from California. You don't have 27 fucking jerk-offs coming from New York and stuff like that. You don't have fucking 15 out of Ohio. You got 5 across the board in every single state is what it is, dude. You got those states that have 1 right now, like Montana and Wyoming and stuff like that, or Alaska for that matter. They now have 5 is what it is, dude. And you have a better overall set of people in office then, because you have a smaller government and you have a much more redefined government to where you would have to have presidential candidates in the future actually give a shit about middle America if they want to actually win the presidency by being able to get the amount of votes needed to win the electoral college is what it is. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're at for the day, though. There is some stuff I want to get done on my game because, unfortunately, when it comes to leaving clans in this game, you basically have a 12-hour window that you have to be in before you can join up again. And I'm currently about an hour and 40 minutes or so from being able to pop that 12-hour clock right now and finally go from having my second and third accounts in the worst clan to actually getting into the main clan now and being much better off when it's all said and done. So, but yeah, I'm going to try to do some grid mapping because we're only a couple days right now before we all merge together. It's going to be us and then one of the pretty much whale clan or one of the whale regions that are coming together, and then like a third region that's coming into that merge. So, unfortunately, I was up here before when it came to power, and now I'm going to be like way the fuck down here when it comes to stuff. That being said, it'll be nice though, because it'll be, you know, me being able to be in a situation there where I can actually grow properly all the way around with all the accounts and stuff like that. And the fact that I'm only a few weeks away right now from actually getting to the point where I can start building good stuff in that game and getting on my 25s and stuff like that. It'll be fun. Yeah, I think right now my town hall in game is like 3 weeks from being able to be done, and then it basically goes to from there. I got to start building other stuff out, and then I'm going to start being able to build T9 troops after that. And then eventually when I get my clan technology done, which is going to be probably like a year from now, I'll be able to actually start building T10s then. So hopefully it won't be that long, but as far as I'm aware, when I'm looking at stuff, like it does take a long ass time if you're a free to play. And it's unfortunate that, you know, you basically keep building and building and building and building and building to get to a point then. And as far as I'm aware, it takes like everything to be built like down to a certain thing before you can actually unlock this like last technology to be able to have the tech to build T10s then. And that sucks because it's like, bro, like, come on now. And then of course, during the whole thing, I'd also have to be able to get my, my library up to level 25, which I think it's like 23 or 24 right now. And that takes each one of the, next builds or two takes like a month to like 2 months or something. So yeah, maybe by like end of fucking summer, I might be able to have that shit ready to go then. So it'd be a year plus in then if that be the case for the game. So, but anyway, let's see. Before I leave, I'm gonna go check some stuff right now. See if there's any news stories I want to discuss before we leave here. Probably not though, but who knows, man. Actually, no, this is probably what we're talking about here. You got Kevin McCarthy bitching and moaning about we're not going to be able to pass a clean debt ceiling. We have to spend less money. Yeah, you should have spent a fuck lot less money, dude, is what it is. It says every great society collapses when they overextend themselves. So see, my problem with that is entirely, like, you would think as Speaker of the House currently, dude, you would, I don't know, start calling in every debt across every country right now is what it is, dude. And be like, pay the fuck up, motherfuckers. And we start lowering our national debt that way is what it is, dude. Or if nothing else, we figure out a way to like print enough money to basically just like wipe out the national debt or something like that, dude. Yeah, would it fuck our country for a little bit? Yes, it would. But that being said, I think American people at this point would be like, okay, cool, let's do what needs to be done to get it done, and then be actually financially stable after the fact. That'd be the case, man. So, personally, I think calling in debts across the world at this point would probably be the best way to do things, though, because it would actually ensure that we have a good functioning nation for the coming years and stuff like that. But who the hell knows? But anyway, yeah, we got dumbass, retarded bitch Janet Yellen insists banking. Let's see. Yeah, no cause for alarm. Janet Yellen to reassure Congress U.S. banking system remains sound. No, it's not, dude. Half of them are fucking hedge funds pretending to be banks is what it is. So, let's see. Got Kamala confusion. Has trouble defining her own job because she's not a fucking vice president. She's a dumb bitch, dude. She's a cheating sack of crap is what it is. Most Americans have an unfavorable view of anarchists. Or sorry, not anarchists, atheists. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that, honestly. That's what that says, though. It says, while Americans hold a favorable view of most religious groups, they have a negative view of atheists, according to a poll by Pew Research Center. Poll released on the 15th of this month found that nearly a quarter, or 24% of Americans, hold a very or somewhat unfavorable view of atheists, while just 1 in 5, or 20%, hold a favorable or somewhat favorable view of non-believers. Yeah, my biggest problem with that whole thing is it's like, okay, like as someone who is, I've grown up my entire life as a Christian, I was raised into that stuff as a kid, baptized as a baby and stuff like that. Eventually did my confirmation in my late teens, early 20s. And then, or actually, no, it was later than that now I'm thinking about it, because it was after I came home. So it would have been probably late 20s, almost in my 30s, actually. So roughly in the past 10 years or so. But yeah, so I did all that stuff. I did what needed to be done there. And, I'm not a practicing Catholic or practicing Christian, or whatever the case, but I don't go to church every week or whatever it is, dude. In fact, I despise it quite a bit, actually, because, again, I'm not a fan of, like, religious indoctrination is what it is. And I feel like that's what that is, though. But the thing is, I still have a belief in God. I still believe in Jesus Christ, all stuff like that, dude, is what it is. And I think that's the problem with some of these people, dude. It's like they don't have any belief in a higher power for atheism and stuff like that. And so it's like when you have nothing to believe and you have no structure to, base your life around and stuff like that, you're going to fall for everything, is what it is, dude. You're going to fall for anything and everything for that matter. And I think that's maybe why people have an unfavorable view of these people, because they are such a bunch of fools, is what it is, dude. So, I don't know. Just my personal opinion on things, personal thoughts on things there. But, yeah, let's go ahead and see if there's anything else I want to talk about besides that, though. Oh, yeah. Got the LA Teachers Union to shut down schools for 3-day strike right now. Good job. You just played yourself, you fucking fools. So fucking dumb, dude. Nice. North Carolina House, for the second time in a couple of years, passes repeal of handgun permit requirement, aka Jim Crow law. Let's see what's going on with that one. See, North Carolina House passed legislation to repeal state's handgun permit requirement, sending it to Governor Cooper Wednesday via a veto-proof majority. Nice. They finally got the veto-proof majority. Fuck it. Yeah, fuck you, Cooper. Sign the shit or be overridden, bitch. So the Associated Press reported that the House passed the legislation by a vote of 70-44, which means every Republican present voted for it, and 3 Democrats crossed the aisle to vote with the GOP. Wow. That tells you something, dude. When you got blue dog Dems doing what needs to be done to keep fucking shit intact is what it is for Second Amendment, dude. These state houses are really starting to change, man. This is going on there. It says legislation ends the requirement that would-be handgun purchasers first obtain a permit from the local sheriff, which, by the way, like I said before, goes back to Jim Crow law. And this is the one thing that does piss me off, actually, when it comes to Mark Robinson, the black dude who's lieutenant governor of North Carolina right now. It was back in, I want to say, the end of 2021 is when Roy Cooper vetoed this shit the last time around. It was like summertime or whatever there. And the biggest problem I have with that is it's like, you as lieutenant governor, Mark Robinson, should have led impeachment against Roy Cooper right then and there, dude, for being a racist piece of shit is what it is. Because Cooper is obviously a fucking racist, dude, when he is leaving a Jim Crow law in effect for like a couple years now after the fact, dude, that was already in place for like decades is what it was, dude. And again, what does that permit purchase thing do to begin with? All it does is fuck over the poor is what it is, dude. It fucks over the poor, and specifically it was created to fuck over minorities originally because it was created during Jim Crow era of American history is what it was, dude. So, yeah, it bothers the shit out of me that you didn't have Robinson take out Cooper then, dude, and lead articles impeachment against his ass back then is what it was, dude. So, anyway. Let's see. It says Cooper. Here we go. Cooper blocked a previous attempt to repeal the permit requirement in 2021, but Republicans have made strong gains in the state legislature since then, and they are but one seat away from a supermajority veto-proof status. Nice. So that means there are 67 of them right now. So that's interesting. So you got North Carolina about to be a supermajority come 2024, apparently, probably. See, it said News and Observer noted the handgun permit requirement was part of a larger package of gun bills passed in a contentious environment in which Democrat lawmakers felt ostracized, as they should, because they're fucking douchebags. It said North Carolina House Minority Leader Robert Reeves said, quote, I hope folks recognize at some level there's got to be recognition there are other people in the room. I don't recognize shit, you motherfucker. When you're being an oath-breaking sack of shit there, Robert. Fuck yourself, dude. Seriously. He continued on though and said, we can choose not to, don't have to, because under our North Carolina statutes, if you're in the front of this body, you can do whatever the heck you want, but I think it would be good going forward for us to really have conversations about getting heard. Oh, really? Getting heard? You mean like the fucking Republicans in Colorado that weren't fucking heard? That had to filibuster for 17 fucking hours the other day and still got fucked over by the Democrat Party, buddy? And still had a bunch of bullshit passed by the Democrat Party that fucks over governors in the state of Colorado? Or the Republicans of California? Or the Republicans in Oregon? Or the Republicans in Washington State that have been fucked in the ass for fucking decades now? When you have Washington State passing a fucking assault weapons ban that's unconstitutional, when you have Colorado passing waiting periods and age requirement restrictions and AWBs there and everything else like that, dude. Or California that passes every fucking gun control, and then they have 27 mass shootings after that, and they pass 27 more fucking gun control bills to do nothing. Yeah, let's have those debates, buddy. And then tell you to go fuck off. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm just sick and tired of it, dude. I'm sick and tired of these fucking scumbag ass Democrats, dude, thinking that they have anything to add to the fucking table when they're sitting there literally breaking their own oath to office is what it is, dude. Same thing with Republicans do for that matter when they do the same shit. So, anyway. Let's see. Oh, for those that haven't heard, I guess Chip Roy endorsed DeSantis for 2024 the other day, and I'm just like, are you angling for a VP nomination, Chip Roy? Because that's what it sounds like right now, brother. Honestly, I think Chip Roy would be a better president than any of these guys right now, honestly, dude. I'd vote for him over a bunch of people, honestly, at this point. So, same thing with Jim Jordan, for that matter. Or Kristi Noem, any of those people over Trump and DeSantis currently. I mean, if it comes down to it and I'm like forced to vote Trump or DeSantis, I'm just like, fuck. I mean, I will cast just because it's like I'm not letting Biden and fucking Democrats take it again is what it is, dude. But like, it would be like basically me voting for Mike DeWine, where I'm just like, you know, because that's what it felt like having to do that when I've had to pull the fucking lever for that asshole last year, dude. It's just like, I want to vote for somebody else, but you're not really giving me that option to do that stuff, dude, because it's just going to fuck them over in the long run of Dems getting power and stuff like that. I'm not going to let that happen. So, anyway. Yeah, I think it's about where we're at right now, honestly. Oh, actually, no. We'll finish off with this. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, since we're already here and we're talking about this stuff now. Since this is based around Ohio, we're going to talk about the pro-parent coalition launches multi-million-dollar ad campaign slamming proposed Ohio abortion ballot measure. Honestly, okay, if you have this much money, if you have multi-millions of dollars, dude, to do this ad campaign, get your own shit together before November's fucking ballot measures and stuff, dude. Get it approved by the board and get that ballot on the fucking ballot initiative on our fucking ballot, dude. Undercut these fucking abortionists the right way, dude. Get your own legislation, your pro-life legislation through and have that codified into state law then. Don't be pissing away money on ad campaigns, dude. Be spending that money the right way by doing an actual fucking voter signature thing and getting your ballot initiative on the thing and having people vote yes on that instead of voting fucking bullshit abortion crap through is what it is, dude. Anyway, it says Protect Women Ohio, which describes itself as a pro-woman, pro-parent, statewide coalition, launched a multi-million-dollar statewide television and digital ad campaign on Wednesday against a proposed Ohio constitutional amendment that would heavily deregulate abortions. Yeah, it would basically lead to a murder on demand is what it would be, dude. We've talked about this before. I think I've actually talked about the actual legislation itself and how fucking retarded it is. So basically what would happen is if you had Democrats get their way here, they would create this legislation that would allow for any doctor in the state of Ohio to push through any bullshit and debate like, okay, this baby's viable at 22 weeks. This baby's viable at 29 weeks. This baby's not viable until 37 weeks. And you'd be able to kill kids in the womb up to fucking moment of birth pretty much eventually is what would happen there, dude. Because it'd be based on doctor to doctor to doctor, et cetera, et cetera. And half of these fucking doctors shouldn't even have medical license in the state of this country anymore, dude, is what it is. Because they're a bunch of baby killing pieces of shit is what it ends up being, dude. So, anyways, continuing on here. It says, new coalition warns in its 30-second spot that parents will be cut out of their children's decision-making around abortions and sex change procedures in Ohio. If Ohioans vote to pass this measure, this is the case, there will be actually. If I'm not mistaken, the bullshit that they're pushing here too, by the way, these anti-life motherfuckers, it's very similar to the crap that they passed in Michigan last year that would basically allow for like gender-affirming care of kids and how they'd be able to transition on the age 18 without parents' signatures and stuff like that is what it is. So, yeah, fuck all that crap, dude, for real. Anyway, where we're at now. It said, all right. Okay. Yeah, it's a 30-second ad, cut parents out of decision-making around abortions and sex change procedures if Ohioans vote pass the measure, which is officially called the, quote, right to reproductive freedom with protections for health and safety amendment. Fuck that shit. That is such a retarded ass written amendment, dude. Fuck all that crap. So coalition said it is comprised of concerned family and life leaders, parents, health and medical experts, and faith leaders in Ohio. The board of directors includes Molly Smith, founding member of Right to Life Action Coalition of Ohio, Aaron Barr, president of the Center for Christian Virtue, and Peter Range, CEO of the Ohio Right to Life. He said moms and dads will be cut out of the most important and life-altering decision of their child's life if this passes, Smith said in a statement. This extreme amendment eliminates any current or future protections for minors requiring parents to be notified and consent before their child undergoes a procedure like an abortion or sex change surgery. Ohioans must vote no on this dangerous proposal. Yeah, it's a deadly proposal, what it really is, honestly, dude. Said $5 million ad buy will run for the next 4 weeks on television and digital platforms. Campaign comes as pro-abortion activists, pro-abortion terrorists is what it is, dude, work to collect the 400,000 signatures. Yeah, fuck that shit too, by the way. 400,000 my ass, dude. Our state right now has over 12 million fucking people in it, dude. It should be at minimum 2 fucking million signatures they have to get for that shit, dude. They would need by July 5th to get the amendment on the 2023 November ballot. Ohio Physicians for Reproductive Rights, which are a bunch of fucking literal Hitlerian pieces of crap that are killing kids in the move every day, is what it is, dude. And Ohioans for Reproductive Freedom told the Dayton Daily News they plan to collect a minimum of 700,000 signatures. Hopefully every single one was thrown out, honestly, dude. Every single one of those signatures can be burned, dude. That's what it is. So we have been working towards this moment since July 2022. Dr. Marcella Averido, president of the Ohio Physicians for Reproductive Rights, said, "We have trained hundreds of volunteers who are eager to begin circulating petitions in communities across the state because they understand the urgent need to ensure that every Ohioan has access to comprehensive reproductive health care, including abortion." Fuck you, you fucking demon cunt. I'm so fucking sick and tired of these people, too, by the way. And yeah, you can see who this bitch is right here, dude. Fucking demon. That woman even looks like a fucking demon, honestly, dude. Just like crazy eyes of this fucking crazy bitch, dude. Fucking disgusting. People make me want to fucking puke, dude. Anyway, continues on. Says Ohio Attorney General's office certified the summary petition for the potential ballot measure on March 2nd. Before sending it, the Ohio Ballot Board, reviewed the proposed amendment and approved it on Monday, meaning pro-abortion activists are cleared to begin collecting signatures to get the ballot measure on the ballot in November. So proposed ballot measure states that, quote, every individual has a right to make and carry out one's own reproductive decisions, including but not limited to decisions on contraception, fertility treatment, continuing one's own pregnancy, aka killing a kid in the fucking womb, miscarriage care, aka causing a miscarriage through abortion pills, and abortion. So under the amendment, the state would not be allowed to directly or indirectly burden, penalize, prohibit, inherent, interfere with, or discriminate against either an individual's voluntary exercise of this right or a person or entity that assists an individual exercising their right. So you can't put like fines or fees like Texas did, is what it was, they're saying there. So unless the state determines that it is using the least restrictive means to advance the individual's right to accordance with widely accepted and evidence-based standards of care, the state could still make laws prohibiting abortions after fetal viability, which the amendment describes as, quote, the point in a pregnancy when, in a professional judgment of the pregnant patient's treating physician, the fetus has a significant likelihood of survival outside the uterus with reasonable measures. So basically they're choosing when that's going to be, if it's going to be 20 weeks, 22 weeks, fucking 40 weeks, whatever the case be. So this is determined on a case-by-case basis, which is absolute bullshit. So however, late-term abortions would not be allowed to be outlawed if, in a professional judgment of the pregnant patient's treating physicians, it is necessary to protect the patient's life or health. So basically, life of the mother crap, even though you'd be killing a 9-month fucking kid is what it is, dude, because you're sick bastards. It said PWO in a press release pointed to the analysis published by the National Review on Monday. The proposed amendment, penned by constitutional scholars Carrie Campbell Savino, president of JCN, and Frank J. Saccarino, a former special counsel to the House Select Investigative Panel on Infant Lives, the two argue that the proposed amendment would make Ohio into a haven for no-limits abortion and other procedures. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Said headlines have largely framed the proposed amendment as a means of adding a right to abortion to the state constitution, but if it became law, the measure would go much further than the group's collective desire to repeal Ohio's heartbeat bill. That's current heartbeat law, by the way. Which generally prohibits abortion after the detection of fetal heartbeat around 6 weeks. Said while still allowing doctors to prevent the death or impairment of major bodily functions of the mother, statute was blocked by the state's lower courts, and the Ohio Supreme Court is expected to debate it pretty soon. Here's what it is. So those two people argue that the proposal is so broadly worded. That's how they do the shit, by the way. And that's the thing too, right? Like, the problem with broad wording stuff is they always do that shit, dude. It's the same thing with fucking anti-gun shit is what it is, dude. They make it so fucking broad brushed. Like, for instance, red flag law stuff is what it is, dude. Or universal background check crap is what it is, dude. They do wordsmith bullshit in it, dude, and make it so broadly worded because they know for a fact that it's going to go further than it needs to, man, is what it is. So they can sit there and be like, oh, well, there's a reason for that. It's so we can kill kids all up to the fucking moment of birth. That's what it is, dude. That's exactly what it's about, honestly, at the end of the day. It's about fucking demon sacrifice to their fucking devil ass worshipping piece of shit Satanists is what it is, dude. That's what people really are at the end of the day. They're fucking demon worshipping Satanists, dude. And they need to be stopped, is what it is. For real. If they want to do that shit, they can go to fucking California or New York, dude. Fuck that. Get it the hell out of Ohio. Take your bitch asses to New York and go live there. Take your bitch asses to California and go live there. Anyway, continuing on with this, though, it said those two people argued that the proposal is so broadly worded that it would prevent the legislator not only from requiring the consent of parents before their child pursues a particular procedure, but also from requiring mere notification of parents, well short of the power to veto their child's decision before the procedure takes place. They further contend that the text goes beyond abortion because they use the broad term reproductive decisions by explicitly defining such decisions as, quote, not limited to the enumerated categories. The proposal establishes its scope as sweeping, so the natural reading would extend to any medical procedure that involves the human reproductive system, including sex change surgery. The language also applies to individuals without any age without any age qualification. So the proposal makes no distinction between adults and minors, nor would they, dude, because they're a bunch of they literally want to fucking create a generation sterilization at this point, dude. I've been telling people that for fucking the last 2 years now is what it is, dude. So additionally, language would deny parents the right to make any intervention on behalf of their child that would discourage them from obtaining the procedure in question. They further noted that the, quote, health exception for any prohibition of post-viable abortion could be employed broadly, as it has in past cases where doctors approve late-term abortions based on emotional and familial factors. The proposed Ohio constitutional amendment would make the state into a haven for no-limits abortion and other procedures. It would become a likely jurisdiction to harbor a future Kermit Gosnell, for those who don't know who that motherfucking piece of shit is, dude. This is the piece of fucking shit, dude, that was killing kids in the fucking womb all the way up to the moment of birth and stuff like that, and then putting dead babies into fucking trash cans and stuff like that. And this son of a bitch has now been convicted, rightfully so, of various stuff is what it is, dude. Yeah. Former physician and serial killer is what he was, dude, in West Pennsylvania. Fucking disgusting piece of shit, dude, is what it is. And yes, it would make this state a fucking haven for pieces of shit like that to come here, man. Fuck that noise. Said whether he is a practitioner of abortion, sex change surgery, or the procedures under the umbrella of reproductive care, it's a complete strangers who assist children in obtaining life-altering procedures would find themselves on the right side of the law, while parents who try to protect their kids would be deemed to have run afoul of this bullshit legislation and law. Fuck that. Fuck that. And people wonder why for the next 6 months or so of my life, I will do whatever I can to stop these fucking cocksuckers from getting this 400K signatures, dude. Even if it means going around and putting fucking fake names on the fucking signature ballots and stuff like that, dude. Because I have no problem doing that stuff because it's all legal, by the way. If I go sit in the park or whatever the case be, they come up to me and ask me for fucking signature, guess what? Seymour Butts is going to be on there. Dick Goes Inya is going to be on there, et cetera, man. So, yeah, good luck to you, motherfuckers. But, anyway, like I said, the best thing that people could do right now, these pro-life people could do, would be actually getting their own ballot on the initiative right now, dude. Going out there and getting their own shit approved real quick and making Ohio a pro-life state once for all is what it is, dude. And protecting the kids from future sex change surgeries, et cetera, is what it is, dude. And it's really as simple as that. If they would do that, man, if these people at the PWO would do that stuff, man, I would be the first person in line to help them do signature gathering, man. To get a pro-life amendment on our fucking ballot, dude, is what it is. To actually enshrine life into our state constitution is what it is, man. And stop these fucking abortionist pieces of shit from being able to sterilize another generation of kids. And it's as simple as that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.